Hello and welcome back to the Master Civil Engineering. In this video, you will learn that after doing the direct shear test on a soil sample in the laboratory, how to process the calculations to find the shear parameters of the soil. Okay, with me, I have a data of a direct shear test performed on a soil. We will find at the end that what type of soil this is. Okay, in a drainage conditions. Okay, at three different loads, three different normal stresses, that is for normal stress of 50 kilopascal, 100 kilopascal and 150 kilopascal. Okay, I have to find the shear parameters of the soil. Okay, so I have already written the values which I got from the laboratory after doing this DST. Okay, I will process the data to help me calculate step by step shear parameters of the soil. Okay, so as you know, in direct shear test, there are three types of dial gauge. First is the horizontal dial gauge, which measures the shear displacement. Then there is a proving ring dial gauge, which measures the shear force, and third one is the vertical dial gauge, which also measures the vertical displacement. We are not concerned with that. Okay, so we will only take the data of two dial gauges, that is the horizontal dial gauge and the proving ring dial gauge. Okay, so horizontal dial gauge, you can see that at 0 division, for normal stress of 50 kilopascal, proving dial gauge is reading shows 0 divisions. For 10 it shows 6.6, for 50 it shows 9, and for other rest of the values of the normal stress for 50 kilopascal. Similarly, for 100 kilopascal, for horizontal dial gauge division of 0, proving ring dial gauge is 0. For 10 it's 9.4, for 50 it's 14.4. okay, and for 150 kilopascal at 10 it's 10.8, at 50 it's 15.8. You know, the failure of the soil sample is indicated when on the proving ring dial gauge the reading starts decreasing, or you get 2 to 3 values same. Okay, so for this 50 kilopascal, you can see after this 17.2, you can see the values have started decreasing, so it means failure occurred at 17.2. okay, similarly, for proving a dial gauge of 20, for dial gauge at normal stress of 100 kilopascal, after 2.9, you can see the values have started decreasing. Okay, so it's the peak value which shows that this is the shear force at normal stress of 100 kilopascal. Okay, and for 150 kilopascal, you can see that after this 26.7, okay, 26.7, the values have started decreasing. Okay, it means there is the failure of the soil. Okay, so to process this, that is the horizontal dial gauge into displacement and proving gauge into kilopascal, you need the factors. Okay, so factors are already provided with each machine. Okay, for DST, sample size is 60 mm into 60 mm into 25 mm. okay, so for my test machine, that is for DST machine, every one division of horizontal dial gauge means that the displacement is 0.01 mm. Okay, so horizontal dial gauge, for 0 division, it's simply 0 into 0.01, which is again 0 mm is the displacement of the specimen at horizontal dial gauge division of 0. Okay, and for 10 it's again 10 into 0.01. okay, that is 0.1 mm. okay, is the displacement at horizontal dial gauge of when the reading is 10. okay, similarly, for the rest, 50 will be 50 into 0.001. So you will select this cell and then drag it till the last, and Excel will automatically calculate you the value of the displacement in mm for rest of the horizontal dial gauge divisions. Okay, strain is simply displacement divided by the length of specimen. Since displacement is mm and the length of specimen in mm is 60, so select the cell divided by 60, you will get the strain. Okay, select the cell and drag it till the last, and Excel will automatically give you the displacement for the rest of the horizontal dial gauge divisions. Okay, so this is our shear strain. Okay, After that, we have to convert the proving ring dial gauge divisions into kilonewton and then into the kilopascal. Okay, that is the shear stress. Okay, so for my DST machine, proving ring calibration factor, that is for one division, it is equal to 0.002988 kilonewton. Okay, so simply you have to multiply, that is the cell, with 0.002988. Okay, okay, this will give me the proving ring dial gauge divisions, convert it into the force. But if I divide that force with the plan or the cross sectional area, I will get the shear stress in the kilopascal. Okay, so sample area is 0.0036 meter square. Okay, so simply divide it by 0.0036, press enter, it will be value in force in kilopascal. Okay, so for 0 it will be obviously 0, but if you drag it till the last row, you can see the value of shear stress for the rest of the proving ring dial gauge divisions. Okay, so it is again the same, proving ring dial gauge multiplied by the calibration factor divided by the plan area, which is equal to the value of the shear force. Okay, so this is the value of shear stress at each displacement, at each strain. So for shear strain of 0.002 mm, shear force in the sample was 5.48 kilopascal. Okay, similarly for the normal stress of 100 kilopascal, it's the same procedure, that is proving ring dial gauge multiplied by 0.002988. Okay, 0.02988 divided by 0.0036. Okay, which is the value of the force in kilopascal. Select the cell and drag it till the last row. Excel will automatically calculate you the value of the shear stress for rest of the proving ring dial gauge reading when the normal stress in the sample was 100 kilopascal. Okay, and finally for the third normal stress of 150 kilopascal, select the proving ring dial gauge reading, multiply it with 0.002988, divide it by 0.0036. You will get the value of the proving ring dial gauge divisions into kilopascal. Okay, so select it and drag it till the last row. You will get the value of shear stress in kilopascal. Okay, you can see that when we increase the normal stress, the shear stress in the sample also increases. At the peaks, shear stress also increases. Here it was 14.28. After that, the failure. Here it was 19.01. Then the failure, and finally here it was 22.08, and then the failure. Okay, so this is how you can convert the horizontal dial gauge readings into the displacement and then into a strain, and proving ring dial gauge divisions into the value of kilopascal. Okay, that is in the value of shear stress. Okay, for your DST, the calibration factor will be different. Okay, both for the horizontal dial gauge as well as for the proving ring. You have to check that from the calibration chart. Okay, so it will be different, it will be not same. Okay, it for every machine it's different. Okay, after getting the value of shear strain and the shear stress, we will now draw the shear stress versus shear strain curve. Okay, okay, in the second sheet, you can see I have already drawn the table having 4 columns. The first is the strain, which we calculated, then the shear stress for the normal stress of 50 kilopascal, shear stress for normal stress of 100 kilopascal, and shear stress for normal stress of 150 kilopascal. Okay, so let's now draw the shear strain versus shear stress graph. So you will select these value, then go to the insert and click the chart, and then you will select this scatter with smooth lines and markers. Okay, so select this, increase the size of the chart, okay, to make it more clearly visible. Okay, so blue is for the normal stress of 50 kilopascal, then red is for normal stress of 100 kilopascal, and this green is the normal stress of 150 kilopascal. Okay, so you can see as we increase the normal stress, the shear stress also increases, but soil fails at a small shear strain. Okay, so first delete the chart title. Okay, and then add the axis titles. So here we add the axis titles. Okay, so horizontal is shear strain. Okay, shear strain, and the vertical is the shear stress in kilopascal. Okay, so this is our graph for shear stress versus shear strain. Okay, uh, you can now for each normal stress you have to take the peak value as the shear stress. Okay, so you can make some modifications, or to be less conservative, you can directly take the peak value as the shear stress for each normal strain. Okay, so let's take the more concise value. First select the vertical axis. Okay, change the major to 1 and minor to 0.5. Okay, let's take the major as 2. Okay, and make the tick marks visible for major type as cross and minor type as inside. Change the color to make them more visible, so black. Now you can see the divisions. Okay, similarly for the horizontal, you can also change the color to black and increase the width. Okay, and in axis you can make the major type as cross and minor type as inside. Okay, now you can clearly see the peak values. Okay, so for the first uh, normal stress of 50 kilopascal, the peak value is approximately 14.28. Okay, you can draw this. You can see it's approximately 14.28. Okay, this is the peak value. And for a bit of make it more straight. Okay, so approximately it's 14.28 is the peak value. Okay, similarly for normal stress of 100 kilopascal. Okay, this is the peak value, which is already 19.01. So draw a horizontal line. You can take it as 19.1 or 19.2. Okay, is the peak value. Okay, and for the last normal stress of 150 kilopascal, you can see here is the peak value. So it's approximately 22.4. Okay, 22.4 is the approximately peak value. Okay, simply at peak value you have to draw a horizontal line where it touches the vertical axis. You will get the shear stress. Okay, or to be on the conservative side, you can directly take the maximum value from the table as your shear stress. Okay, so for my normal stress of 50 kilopascal, shear stress was 14.2. For a normal stress of 100 kilopascal, shear stress was 19.1. And for normal stress of 150 kilopascal, maximum shear stress was 22.4. Okay, now we will draw the Mohr-Coulomb envelope to find the cohesion and the angle of internal friction. Okay, so simply select this values, click on the insert, then on the charts, and then select this. Okay, scatter simply. Okay, then increase the size, then delete this chart title, add the axis title, and also add the trend line. Okay, for horizontal it's the normal stress, normal stress, second, normal stress in kilopascal, and for the vertical it's the shear stress in kilopascal. Okay, so how to get the value of C and phi? Either you have to pass a line which passes through a best fit line which passes through these points and intersect this vertical axis where it touches the vertical axis. The intercept will be the cohesion, and the angle which it makes with the horizontal will be the angle of internal friction. Okay, in Excel you just have to click this trend line, double click, and simply display the equation on the chart. This will be the equation of the line, and this line will give you the this cohesion and angle of internal friction. Okay, so we can see from this is equal to y is equal to mx plus c. The intercept is 10.367. so simply you can say that the cohesion for this is 10.367 kilopascal or 10.4 kilopascal, and phi is the you have to take tan inverse of this, that is tan inverse of 0.082. Okay, so in Excel you will write degrees, write equal, then write degrees, then bracket, then write a tan. Okay, that is tan inverse, then write the value which is 0.082, close the bracket and press enter, and it will give you the value of the angle in degrees, which is 4.69 degrees. Okay, so for my soil the value of cohesion is 10.37 and the value of phi is 4.69 degrees. Okay, so what we can say about this soil, since this soil has a very low friction angle which is less than 10 degrees, so I can say this soil has a poor granular interlocking property. Okay, predominantly as cohesive soil, and its cohesion is also less, that is 10 kilopascal. So it suggests that this soil is soft, very soft soil rather than stiff soil. Okay, so my likely soil type is soft clay or clay silt. Okay, I can say that practical implications of this soil is that it will have the low bearing capacity and high compressibility, and it will be not suitable for shallow foundation without soil improvement. Okay, so this is how you can process the direct shear test lab calculations to find the shear parameters of the soil. I hope this solution video was clear and effective and you definitely learned something new. Okay, if you have any doubts you can write them in the comment box. Okay, I will personally contact with you. Okay, and if you want to learn more, you can take the membership of my channel, which is available at very low rates. Okay, and also subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends. Okay, there are other hundreds of videos available on my side which are related to the practical test in civil engineering. Okay, so do watch them also. Thanks for watching Master Civil Engineering and stay tuned.